The Federal Reserve of the United States has cut interest rates today by 50 basis points. What does that mean? What happens now? And more importantly, what do I need to be getting ready for next? I'm going to break it all down for all of us today. And all we're asking for today is for you to hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell and share this page with somebody. Let's get right into it. Now, the Federal Reserve of the United States, I want to provide you some context about who they are. The Federal Reserve is not the government in the United States. I want to repeat that. They are not the government. This is not the Congress. This is not the Senate. This organization is an agency that controls the monetary policy of this country. So it's not even your government that's controlling the monetary policy. I want you to think about that. Anyways, the Federal Reserve is controlling how much the money in the country continues to flow and move through the country for progress, inflation, and deflationary reasons. Okay? But their job is to make sure that the dollar remains relatively stable and that the majority of the United States maintains jobs so that they can help companies produce so that we continue to grow as a nation. And so they do various different things. They can cut rates, they can increase rates, they can pause rates, they can run off balance sheets. There's a lot of strategies that they can do to make sure that money in general in the United States and the dollar remains relatively stable. So after the pandemic, we saw that the economy exploded with all the stimulus checks, everything coming through for all of us, right? People were getting thousands of dollars for money, and then they were turning around and buying things, buying cars, buying stocks, doing all sorts of craziness. And the economy was very hot, but it got way too hot. And so then this agency, again, not your government, this agency came in and said, we need to regulate down the dollar because it is way too overheated. So we are going to start increasing interest rates so that it becomes much more expensive for you to borrow funds from institutions or the government. Okay? So that's where we were on a journey of increasing rates. So as the interest rates increase, your car loans, your mortgage payments, the credit card bills, the interest rates, if they weren't fixed and they were variable, they started increasing, which increased your monthly payments. Okay? So we've been on this journey for, let's say, 2.5, 3 years. Then we got to a point where we peaked in our increased interest rates. And then all of a sudden, the Federal Reserve says, let's leave the interest rates where they are because inflation is coming down. So the job was going. Okay. So they increased rates because the economy was very hot. They paused because everything seemed relatively stable and moving according to plan. But today, they now decided that they are going to reverse course correct action. And instead of increasing rates, they are now going to decrease rates. So if the economy was hot, and so it was hot, they decided to increase the rates. The only reason they would start decreasing rates is if the economy is showing signs of weakness. Okay? So that's the first thing you need to understand is that by them cutting by 50 basis points, which is 0.5%, by them doing this, this is the first sign this agency is letting you know that there are signs of weakness in our economy. Now, we have to understand something. When you sit there in front of a camera and you are now changing the entire plan you've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years, the last thing you want to do is scare anybody. So you're never going to let somebody know that things are not looking good. You are going to deliver the message in a way to make sure everybody remains calm. So how do you deliver a message like that? We have seen great progress in our journey to bringing down inflation. And now to be proactive to make sure we are providing adequate support to our economy, we are now going to cut rates to make sure that we have what is called a soft landing in our monetary policy strategy. Okay, you're not going to deliver saying that things ain't looking good and we're going to now cut rates. Why? Because people are going to start getting scared. Okay, so they cut rates. So the first thing you need to know is that on your local revolving credits, so you have your credit cards, right? Home equity line of credit, if you're making payments on that and things like that, you're going to start seeing that the rates are going to go down on those interests, and your payment back is going to now be a little bit lower. Sounds good, right? More money back in your pocket in the short term. Fair enough. So that's the first thing you need to be aware of. Now, what's to come now? If there are cracks in the economy, that means that companies are not doing well. And if companies are not doing well, that means that they then are not producing at the rate they once were, which means revenues are down. But most companies in our country are for profit, which means they have to make money. So if the money coming in is coming down, then to avoid going negative in your finances, the money going out needs to come down too, so that you remain profitable. And what is normally the most expensive expense for most companies? People, you, me, your family member, your cousin, your parent. We are the most expensive investment to a company. So one way to free up some money is to release some jobs. And that's what will come next, will be that we will start seeing now job reductions. There will be less jobs. There will be increased layoffs. You will start seeing jobs coming away, not being available. Some of your local family members and friends, God forbid, but it's true, some of them will lose their jobs over the next year to year and a half. This is a reality with the scenario at hand. And then the last component that's the most important for today is that what usually comes after the first rate cut, more often than not, is a recession. Now, we don't know with the recession how bad it's going to be. Is it going to be a soft recession? Is it going to be an aggressive recession? We don't know those details, and I'm not here to predict the future for you. But there's two things I will tell you. Number one, most people out here in general are anticipating that a recession is going to come of some sort. So that's no surprise to anybody. Everybody's anticipating the same thing. Normally, when a recession comes, on average, the stock market comes back usually 20 to 30% on average. So most people are expecting a recession, and most people know that the stock market will eventually, we don't know when, but eventually will pull back 20 to 30%. Let me fill you in on a secret about the stock market. The stock market is a net zero gain. What does that mean? That means that somebody is only making money when somebody else is losing money. You cannot make nor lose money without somebody else making nor losing money. So if everybody knows that there's going to be a recession and that the stock market is going to pull back 20 to 30%, everybody then is planning to do the same thing. But if everybody's doing the same thing, how could money be made? So I encourage you to think a little deeper based off of what I just said, and plan and do your due diligence and research to figure out, is there something missing in that story that is the key to identifying where the real money is going to be made. Because remember, you can only make money in the stock market when somebody else is losing money. If you like content like this, be sure to like this page, subscribe, share this video with somebody you know. There's a lot of people trying to figure out what's going to happen next. This video here will give you a great baseline for that, and we'll see you on the next one.